This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, Sphere Rocket VA, for connecting me today with Sal. Sal, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. So let's talk about you. You know, where are you from? What market are you in now? And how did you find yourself in real estate?
Yeah, so I am from New Jersey. I live at the Jersey Shore, just like the MTV show that everyone knows about. Yeah, exactly. Born and raised here. That's where we do business. I got into real estate about 11 years ago now at this point. I currently have a 30 agent team, and we're located not only at the Jersey Shore, but also in Miami, Florida, as well as a small team in Naples. So we're at South Florida as well.
Awesome. Okay, so you guys are kind of spread all over the place, which is great.
Yeah.
That's one of the very cool things about real estate and real estate with EXP.
Yes.
So then was EXP your first brokerage? Were you an OG, or how did you come across EXP?
No, so yeah, good question. So no, I was actually with RE/MAX for 8 years. I started my first year with a small boutique brokerage and then went to RE/MAX quickly. I was with RE/MAX for 8 years. And then just actually April 1st, I believe, will be my 1-year anniversary with EXP.
Oh, awesome. That's so weird. Somebody else had a April 1st anniversary that I talked to this morning. So
Oh, wow.
Must be the day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So, you know, you saw the model of EXP. You've been here for about a year. But what keeps you here? What makes you say, I'm never leaving EXP? I know we have like stock options, revenue share, collaboration.
I don't know if we have enough time.
What is it to you?
Yeah. So much. As a real estate agent with RE/MAX and just any company, I saw a good amount of success, and that's when I started to grow my team in about year 4 or 5. I was the first person at my RE/MAX franchise, that particular office, to start a real estate team. And so I actually, for better or for worse, was kind of everything that I learned was through trial and error, because there wasn't really many people for me to go to for advice, because there wasn't other teams within our office. And a lot of people don't realize, but every RE/MAX, like other companies, they're individually owned franchises. And so, you know, the RE/MAX down the road wasn't necessarily affiliated with us. So it wasn't like I could reach out to those people to try to get advice from them. And so it was a lot of, you know, just winging it and a lot of trial and error with RE/MAX for a long time. And a lot of, I guess, just restraints in terms of what I could do, locations that I could expand to. The costs were astronomical to run a team. And so once I really got serious about wanting to go in that direction and really saw myself as a team leader for the future, it's when I started to explore different options. And a big thing too of that was I got to a point where I realized that the name RE/MAX, right, wasn't attributing to any of my success or my team's success. We had already done so much personal branding and team branding and all of that stuff that, I mean, there was many clients that didn't even know that I worked for RE/MAX, right? So at the end of the day, once we started thinking about it, it was like, well, you know, what are we paying all this money for? Why are we abiding by these constraints and rules and stuff when we don't necessarily need that name behind us? And so that's when we started to explore other options, and we explored every option out there, even, you know, down to starting my own brokerage.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, after comparing all the pros and cons and the business models of everything, EXP was hands down the right choice. And it worked really well for me and my personality and where I wanted to go in the future. Because for me as a real estate agent, I was a really great individual agent. You know, at the peak of my individual sales, I was selling like 75 homes a year by myself. And it was very lucrative. And I was able to create a really great lifestyle for my family and myself. And, but I also was always very kind of concerned about like long-term, geez, what do I do? How do I ever retire from this? Or how do I ever, you know, take a step back? And so that's kind of why I considered even starting my own brokerage, was because, hey, maybe I can build something so that one day I can retire and maybe like sell this, you know, but, and, you know, once I really dove into EXP's model and learned about the multiple income streams and revenue share and everything else, I was like, wow, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you know, 401k, not necessarily what it is, but it is an option here. You know, retirement is on the horizon here. Time comes for everyone. So retirement is something you should be thinking about. And EXP has options for that, you know, which is great. And so, like you said, there's so many amenities that just keep you on board with EXP. And obviously you're really busy, Sal. Like you got high production, you got a lot going on. So at the end of the day, you know, how do you take care of Sal? Like, worrying about retirement aside, your team aside, everything else aside, how do you make sure that you're not experiencing burnout mode?
So I learned a few years back to be really, really dedicated to my calendar and to pre-plan my calendar, and to plan, most importantly, to plan personal time and rest time, and to also have hold myself accountable to my own appointments like I would for a stranger. Like I say all the time, like have the same respect for yourself as you do strangers, because most realtors would never cancel an appointment on a stranger that they set it with, but they'll cancel an appointment on themselves all the time. And so it was kind of, don't get me wrong, in the beginning it was very difficult, because I think as realtors, a lot of us are very type A. We're very like, you know, we want to be work, and we want to do everything we can for our clients. And so we forget to take some time to recharge and to kind of, like I said, keep that appointment with ourselves as well.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, you have to give yourself the time to rest. You have to give yourself the time to do the things that recharge you so that you can be your best self facing your clients and facing your mentees and mentors and, you know, whatever else comes for you. Because if you don't give yourself the time to rest, your body determines when that time is, and it's not always the best for you. So, well, that's great. Great advice. You know, stick to your calendar, keep the respect, you know, making sure that you're showing up. And if you can't show up, reaching out and all of the above, it is important. And, you know, especially for your reputation within the industry, whether that be amongst peers or clients or whatever else it is. And so moving forward from that, you know, go ahead, Sal.
I was just going to say, I also learned to leverage my time and delegate a little bit, which has been huge. I remember when I first considered hiring an assistant, I reached out to my mentor broker at the time, and I was like, you know, I'm considering it, but I don't know if I can afford it. And he was like, let me tell you something. You can't afford not to have an assistant. And ever since I made that leap, my business has grown tremendously, and I'm actually able to have a little bit of time to myself and enjoy my life too, which is nice.
And that's a great way to put it. You know, I don't know if you can afford not to have an assistant. And there are so many different ways to go about getting an assistant. You know, you can hire somebody, you know, that's maybe interested in getting into real estate, and you can start a mentorship with them. Or, you know, somebody that just likes being an assistant, somebody local, you can hire virtual assistants. I mean, the options are endless. And at the end of the day, in any business, you have to spend money to make money.
Yep.
You know, and being able to delegate some of those tasks that would be considered weak points for you, you know, you're not efficient at them or whatever it is, and giving them to somebody that, you know, has the time to do it and do them well, allowing you to open up your schedule. I mean, it really helps to elevate and really crank up that production.
Absolutely.
So Sal, speaking of production, you know, what is the Icon Award to you? Like, what benefits did it bring you? What kind of production did you have to do in your market to get there? And how did you give back to the culture? You know, are you a mentor? Do you teach lessons? What is the Icon in Sal's world?
Yeah. So when I first learned about the Icon Agent thing, I was very excited just because the prior 10 years, we didn't get anything other than like a printed out like piece of paper award, So when I found out about the Icon program, it was awesome. And it was nice to be recognized and rewarded for, my hard work. So in our market, so in order to reach Icon with EXP, you have to cap right at their highest cap of 16,000, and they take 20%. So that essentially equates to bringing in 80,000 in gross commission. And then you have to sell an additional 20 homes after that. And so in our market, the average price point is about 400,000 to 500,000. My average price point's a little bit higher than that, but in our market, it's about 400,000 to 500,000. And so in order to cap, you'd have to sell about 7 or 8 homes, and then an additional 20 after that. And so I would say it's about 25 to 30 homes or so in our market in order to become an Icon agent, average price homes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And, and it differs because this crazy housing market right now and all the demand in different places. And, some people it takes 8 houses, some people it takes 20, like it just depends on however. And then you hit that cap can be earned back by going to EXP Con and shareholders and, getting involved, which is really cool.
Exactly.
Name another brokerage that gives you the opportunity to get your cap back.
Right. Yeah. So they give you your cap back in the form of stock, which is amazing because the stock is something that I believe in long term heavily. But it's great. So I actually opted to teach a couple classes in EXP World. So I'm going to be doing that soon, actually. And that was another thing that I actually loved about EXP's trainings, because I know a lot of other brokerages, the people that train their agents are the agents that are typically kind of phasing out of the business. They're not so busy anymore. And I've always said, like, that's not the person that I want to learn from, And so EXP, I love the fact that they have their Icon agents as the ones that teach these trainings and courses. So that you're getting taught by someone that is in the business and producing that year, like they are in it, And so I think that's really beneficial to all of the other agents in the brokerage.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And what are you going to be focusing on in your teaching this year, Sal? And if you want, down the line as well, reach back out to me and we can do a couple spin-off episodes, kind of doing some teasers for your lessons, but, just kind of give us a summary of what you think you're leaning towards now.
Yeah, so I do some keynote speeches and things like that, and something that a lot of people really like to learn about, and something that I can kind of teach pretty well is how to get into the luxury market. So how to go from just average price point into the luxury market, and so that's something that I'll probably teach, as well as something about social media. So a lot of my branding and my business has been built based off of social media. When I got into the business in 2011. Social media was not nearly as popular as it is today. In fact, my first office banned people from being on social media because they thought you were just playing games. So that's something that I can talk about.
How the tables have turned there.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's probably something that I'll talk about as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, that would be great to talk about and to attend. And if you're in Sal's area or one of the areas his teams are in, or you're interested in it,
Well, the cool thing about EXP is those trainings are actually going to be held on EXP World. So it's like their metaverse. So anyone in the world can watch those.
Absolutely. And it's a great way to get to know you, especially if you're interested in this market, or maybe you're just interested in Sal seems like he knows a lot. Maybe he'd be interested in kind of coaching me a little bit. I mean, these are great ways to get to know your peers in EXP World. And like you said, in EXP World, it's a metaverse. And the cool thing about that training is it's coming from people who are the best of the best. They've got the production to prove it. And I just think it's cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, it is. And it's awesome.
It encourages speaking and the collaboration and everything else in between. And that's really cool. So I'll be on the lookout for those trainings.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. So, for people that are new to EXP, or maybe they're new to real estate and EXP, is the Icon Award something that they, can attain within their first year? Or as, an Icon agent, what's some advice to the newbies out there? Should they shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars, or is that going to be disappointing to them? Where do they even begin?
So I think, number one, I've seen some people come out of the gate and just crush it. I will say it's rare. It's not the norm. And I tell everyone on my team and all the new agents that I coach and mentor, the first 3 to 6 months, it's really a learning process. Now, granted, I have agents on my team that are putting deals together, you know, in their first month or so. But again, that's not really the norm. I think I totally agree and live by, you know, shoot for the moon and land amongst the stars 1,000%. Just as long as you're not, you know, you're not going to be disappointed if you don't end year one as a top producer, because the odds of doing that are just not realistic right now. I think people can have a fantastic year one and really lay the groundwork to have a phenomenal career. I really think in the first couple years of your business, it's a lot of building that foundation, building your brand, building your reputation with the client and brokerage community, to set yourself up. Most of the agents that I coach and work with, regardless of how great they do in years 1 and 2, typically we really start to see a lot really start to catch on and shoot into like years 3 and 4. So I would tell most new agents, just stick with it. I think the most important thing is to be consistent. I think a lot of new agents make the mistake of trying to do something, and if it doesn't work in their first attempt, they just write it off as it just doesn't work at all, which is not the case. I think, you know, like I said, I built my business, a lot of it via social media. And had I given up after the first post that didn't get many likes or comments, you know, I wouldn't be sitting here right now today. And so that's the biggest advice I can give is when you choose to go do something in this business, you have to stay consistent. You have to, you know, something that I really like and think about often, and I told my team, is in this business, when you're making a decision, whether that be to, you know, work with a client or, you know, in a particular marketing strategy or avenue or something, make your decisions based on how it's going to affect your business 2 years from now, not today. Because we're in a very kind of long-term business where you have to plant a lot of seeds today, and you don't see the benefits of that growth for a year or two. So the best advice I can give to agents is whenever you're doing anything to build your business, think about how it's going to help your business in 2 years.
Absolutely. You know, you're 100% right. It's the long game here. You know, you want people to remember your name for, you know, when they want to buy a house in the future or sell their home or whatever it is.
We're not selling impulse buy items, right? It's not like I can show you a picture of an ice cream cone and you're like, I'm in the mood for ice cream. Like you're not, you don't just get in the mood to buy a house, you know?
No, you're right. And it's a whole process. And even like, you know, from the first instance of somebody wanting to buy a house, like you're their first thought, but you're not their first step, right? We got to go to mortgages and lenders and everything else in between. And then we got to find a place and blah, 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 blah. So there's so much to it. You do want the name to be prominent in their mind. You want them to be the first person that they think of when that time comes.
Yeah.
And it will again and again. People need houses to live in, and that's
right.
how it is. That's how it goes. Well, Sal, you know, at one point you were on the outside of EXP. You were looking in, you saw the greener grass, you saw the model, you're like, wow. But I don't know, like they kind of look like they're a cult. I mean, this is a pyramid scheme. What's going on? So to somebody else who's maybe in those shoes right now listening to the show, they're a little skeptical. They see the grass is greener. What would you have to say to them?
Put your ego aside. And open up your mind. It's okay to admit that I was wrong, right? Because I think that was my big thing when I first heard EXP and about the model. I was like, yeah, I don't want to hear about it. You know, I know brokerages that are like that, and I don't want anything to do with it. Like, I don't want to recruit. I just want to sell homes. I don't know about this whole cloud thing. I just like. And like I was, you know, prideful behind my prior brokerage, and I thought that my clients would leave me if I made a move or something, you know. And so once I will be honest too, and the second time around when we revisited the idea of EXP, I was a little closed-minded then as well until someone forced me to really listen and understand. And compare the pros and cons of what they had to offer versus other companies. And then, you know, within a few minutes, the light bulb went off and I was like, wow, this is actually the smartest thing that I can do. But again, it was, you know, I had to kind of like put my ego in check because there was a lot of people that were like, wait, what? You're leaving this brokerage to go to that brokerage? What are you, crazy? And I had to admit, like, hey, look, yeah, I thought the same thing, but I was wrong. Like, like once I really learned and understood, I will 100% admit that I was wrong. I didn't get it. Now I do. I wish that I got it the first time and was open-minded enough to hear them out. But hey,
I'm sure your stock account does too, but
yes, exactly. But better late than never.
Yeah, and the number one thing I hear the Icon guests say on this show is that, they wish they had done it sooner, but you're absolutely right too. Better late than never. A lot of people are like, oh man, that boat's already taken off. The train has left the station. I'm too far behind the curb. And that's just not true.
No, and that's what I was going to say. Actually, we're not late at all. But yeah.
There's time to hop on board. There's time to get to know
Plenty of time.
Surround yourself with some EXP agents, even if you're too scared to make the switch right now. Kind of see, they're not going to pounce on you. We're not going to kidnap you. We shouldn't kidnap you.
Yeah.
And just kind of, go to a mastermind, see what they have to offer, because at EXP, we don't keep our secrets to our chest.
That changed my life. I was recently at a Cabo mastermind with 1,200 EXP agents, and literally life-changing, the best thing that I ever did.
See? And there are masterminds everywhere, like all the time, if it's close to your market, whether, if you desire to go to Cabo, take a little time to, recharge yourself while also coming back with tools to improve yourself in the business. I mean, finding a win-win for everyone. There's masterminds in big cities and wherever else you want to go. So if you want the opportunity, it's there for you to take it.
Absolutely.
Well, that's really cool, Sal. It's been cool to hear your story. Do you have anything else that you want to touch on? I think it's been a great show. I just don't want you to feel like you left some stuff unsaid.
Yeah, no, I think we covered a lot. My experience has been amazing, and I tell everybody the same thing. My response, because a lot of agents that I work with are like, how do you like EXP? And I'm always like, it's changed my life. It really has, and it shocks me that more people aren't like, really? Tell me about it. People are so afraid of change, but it's okay. Sure. I promise it's okay. And at the end of the day, I've always been an advocate of like, you have to do what's best for yourself and your family, because the other person would and will. And so that's my thing. I absolutely couldn't be happier with the company. I don't see myself ever leaving. It's been great. My big thing is to get to a point where I can be financially free and spend majority of my time with my family. And so, EXP is allowing me to do that.
Absolutely. And like I said, Sal, in the future, if you ever want to do a spin-off episode to do some teasers about, some lessons you'll have coming up and stuff, just reach out to me. I am a free podcast to you Icon agents. So definitely use that tool, and let's get some stuff out on the metaverse and kind of keep cranking your name.
Love that. Yeah. If anyone's watching, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everything. Just at Sal Ventre.
Sal Ventre. Perfect. Well, Sal, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to our next episode.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sal. Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success, and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.